Hey, CS 151 students, it's Professor Pierce. I'm um, I'm at home and I'm going to make a little recording of one of the demos in the demo section meant to show off this MVC framework. We're still using the MVC framework, of course, so this might be helpful. So I've just gone to the demonstrations page, and there's this link to BrickCAD here. So BrickCAD, I think this was a project that the students did last semester. This is a link to the description of the project. We can actually, I think I can actually run the project here. Let's see if I've got it. Here, notice this is I've got this project called MVC Apps, and here's the MVC framework. And then all of the rest of these things are customizations that I've built on top of that. And let's see, BC stands for BrickCAD. And I always put my main in Brick Panel. So I'm going to right mouse click on that and run it. Okay, so here we have up here, it's this is built on top of the MVC frameworks. We have our file, edit, and help menu. There are three commands here. You can set the height, width, and length of a brick. So BrickCAD it's kind of a joke. It's meant as a CAD/CAM system for designing bricks. I decided on that because I thought bricks were a bit simpler than, say, aircraft carriers. And then there are a couple of interesting features of this version. There are three views of the brick: side view, front view, and top view. And I must confess, I don't forgot which view is which. I should have probably put little labels in here. And then here we have the control panel, and the control panel this time has got text fields in it. So for example, I'm going to go in here and type set the new height to 50. And notice that two views updated themselves, but not the top view over here. I've decided this is the top view. Because the top view, you wouldn't see a change in the height of the brick. Okay, now I'm going to go to the edit menu. Let's set the width. And notice there's a slight difference here. Because I picked this from the edit menu, there was no place for me to enter the new dimension. So here let's enter 66. Okay, and you can see the two of the views updated. So there's a slight variation. Commands that are going to be coming from these text fields here are already going to have the new dimension specified. But if that new dimension isn't specified, then we'll assume that it's coming from the menu, and that'll trigger us to prompt the user for the changes. Okay, so let's see. So that's the specification of it, and then, and of course, this is built on the MVC framework, and this link here goes to, this is just from the lecture notes, the description of the framework. I want to make sure everybody understands that framework very clearly because it's got most of the lessons for the semester are packed into this framework. All right, coming back here, here's the model, how I designed this thing. So up here is from the framework, we have the model and then the command and the view, which both have pointers to the model, but not vice versa. Set height is an example of a command. There are going to be three command classes here: set height, set width, and set length. Brick extends model and its important properties are height, width, and length, obviously. Side view is one of three views, side view, top view, front view, that are both going to subclass view. This diagram shows the brick panel, which extends app panel, brick factory, which implements app factory, and then of course this is the brick again over here. So then here is some of the code. So let's look at brick.java first. I'm going to look at it over here. And so here is my brick class. It extends model. Here are the three properties of a brick: height, width, and length. constructor initializes those things. You have to have a default constructor too, which initializes the brick to some default dimensions. Here I have get height and set height. Get height simple, just return the height, but the set height changes the height, but it also has to call this dot change. This dot changed is from the model class. Let's see if we can find that. I'll go over here and grab this model class. Changed, it sets unsaved changes to true, and then it fires a generic property change event. Okay, so I don't pass on any information here. I just set all of these fields to null because I know that the view will come back and fetch the information it needs from the brick. So it's the same with all of these setters, and really that's all there is to brick. And I've provided I think I've provided the code to that. Let's take a look at the side view of the brick. Here's the side view. It extends view. Remember, view extends component, and view listens to, let's see, view is a J component, and it's a property change listener, and it's listening to the model, which in our case is the brick. Okay, and every time the model changes, repaint is called. Repaint calls paint component. So this is where I'm really going to do something about this property change. I cast the model as a brick. This is important. You don't need a brick field here. You've inherited this model field, which already points at the brick. I'm going to get the old color. Okay, I'm back from a little ordeal with the cats and an ordeal with like a phone call. Let's see, where was I? Right, so here we've cast the model as a brick because the model happens to be pointing to a brick. We fetch, I just fetched all 3 dimensions. This is the side view, so apparently it's not going to really care that much about the width, I suppose. But I fetched all 3 of these things just because it was easier to do. And then I'm going to fill in a rectangle. This, of course, is the X and Y coordinate of the upper left-hand corner of the brick, and then the height and length of the brick. Right. The commands. Let's see, let me go back to here and get the command here. Here's the set height command. As you can see over here, I've got set length and set width. They're very similar. Here's new height that we're going to set it to. And here's a constructor that initializes the new height. And then here's one that sets the new height to null. And then in execute, what I do is I use new height equal to null to tell me that, oh, this must be coming from the menus, not from the text fields. Because if it was from the text fields, we would know what the new height is. So I ask the user to enter a new height, and I try to convert the user's response into an integer. That will throw an exception if the user types in some nonsense. And then here, I catch the exception, and I give a little error message saying that, oh, you should have typed in a positive integer. Next, brick panel. Whoops, let me go to brick panel here. Making everybody dizzy with this. Here's my brick panel. So here I declared height, width, and length fields as member variables. And I'm doing that because I'm going to need to be able to get to these fields to find out what the user's typed in. I'm extending app panel from the framework. So the constructor, the app panel constructor wants an app factory turned in. This will be our brick factory. I'm passing that up to app panel here, and he's going to use that factory to build the application. He's going to build, set up the views. He's going to set up the command processor, the model. So all of that will be set up. And then, here's I'm setting up the layout. I'm putting in here for example, here the height field is being created. And to initialize it, I do brick.getHeight. So that initializes it to whatever the height of the brick is initially. This is kind of cool. So when somebody types a number into this text field and they hit the enter key, that fires an action command. And you can set the action command to be anything you want it to be. So here I'm setting it to be set height. That's also the string on the edit. So when a command arrives, it'll have this. When an action event arrives, it'll have this set height command, and I'll know that this is for setting the height. We'll see that in a moment. I add myself being the panel, as an action listener to the height field. I do that for the other fields as well. Okay. Now, here's my action performed. So remember, this gets called anytime somebody either selects a menu, an edit menu item, or types in like a new height, width, or length, or whatever. So here I'm getting the source of the command, and if the source is the height field, then I'm going to make a new set height command. I pass in the model, and then I pass in the integer value of the text that the user typed in right here. And then I send it to the command processor and say, please execute this for me. I thought that I had used the action command, but apparently I'm not using it. So maybe that stuff I was saying before about setting the action command to set height, maybe that didn't get used here. And then here, if I haven't identified the source of the command as being one of those two text fields, I send the action event, AE, I send it up to action performed in the app panel. Let's take a quick look at the app panel here. So this is, I think, the coolest feature of this framework. Down here in the app panel, I've got this action performed, and I've got here, if it's save as, this is all stuff from the file menu. Here's about and help, that's from the help menu. And finally, we come down here, it must have been from the edit menu if it wasn't any of the above. Okay, so I know the command here, that's going to be set height, set width, and so forth. And so I go to the factory and I say, make an edit command, use this model, which is actually going to be the brick, and this command, the string, set height, set width, set length. And this creates a command object, and then the command processor executes that command, which just means it calls the command's execute method. So I'm able to actually, in the framework here, I am handling all of the edit menu commands without needing to know what those edit commands are. Right? I'm just going to use the factory you gave me to create the commands and execute the commands. I don't need to know whether I'm moving a turtle or changing the dimensions of a brick. It's all the same to the framework. Brick Factory. Okay, let's take a look at Brick Factory. Where is Brick Factory? Up here. So Brick Factory implements App Factory. Let's look at App Factory. So here's App Factory. It's dead simple. These are the things that I need to know about the application components in order to build out the application. I need to know how to make a model. Is your model a brick? Is your model a turtle? Is your model a minefield, a maze, a simulation, which is what we're going to see in the next assignment. Give me an array of your edit commands, just an array of strings. What sort of things can you do? So here, this is going to be implemented to return. Here's brick factory. How do you make a model? Well, I return a new brick. Remember, a brick is a model, so there's no type error here. Get edit commands. So this is just an array consisting of these 3 strings in it. And then next, the app panel, the app factory. Make edit commands. Well, let's just go down to these first. They're easier. Get title. What's the title of your application? Get help. Give me an array of strings, 1 entry for each command. And then, this is for the about. And this is pretty boilerplate here. Get title, brick CAD, get help. So here I create this array of commands, and each entry in the array is a different help line for a different command. And I return that. And then about, I just have my little copyright and date, that sort of thing. And then here is the most complicated thing, make edit command. So I'm just giving you the name of the command, and you have to make the right sort of command. So if the type of command, the name of the command is the string set height, then here I'm going to create a new set height command. Okay, so that's how the framework is able to figure out from the menu item that you selected what kind of command to create. And then all of these commands look the same to the framework. They have an execute method, and that's all you need to. That's all you need to know. Okay, and so I think the rest of this, you can read through this again. This is coming from the demonstrations page. Here I've posted some solutions to Turtle Graphics. I don't know if I'll have time to talk about that in class. I still am not divulging any more code than I already have about the MVC framework, because I want you to continue to work on it. So I've given some tips there. I want you to understand how it works. And then here I have my design that I use for Turtle Graphics, and I give you turtle.java, and so forth. So this will give you yet another customization. Let's go back here for a second. So you've now got brick CAD. You've got what else? Stoplight and turtles. So you've got the code for those 3 customizations of the model view controller framework, which is here. And SimStation is going to be our next customization of that framework, and that is a framework itself. Okay, that is all for now, and I'll see everybody on Tuesday, or at least hear everybody on Tuesday.